So let's go ahead.
Okay.
I hope the
Okay.
people will share it. Hold on, let me share it a little bit. Let me share it. Hold on.
I can help you to share it. Don't worry about that.
Okay. All right, help and share it. Let me go. Okay, hold on. Let me. Uh, I'm getting ready to get off anyway. So please don't waste my time again on the ULA. Those useless people. I got nothing to offer people. Can't waste my time with ULA. They don't be starting trouble in the place here. ULA. Fully people. Okay. So let me share it. Let me share it right away. Let me share it. And you can help me to share it as well.
Not a problem. I'm always helping you out.
Yeah. But share it now. Share it. ULA. I don't want to talk about ULA anymore. I just want to let my people call in, and that will be after I share this thing. I don't want to talk about ULA anymore. ULA is not an issue. I don't got time for ULA right now. They're useless as far as I'm concerned. They got nothing to offer. All their leadership, all they do, just go from place to place, party here, party there. Nothing good. That ULA, we guys said that what we're having all that problem. So big mouth. They don't do nothing for nobody. Nothing. The only thing they get to show here so far. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Hold on. Let me finish sharing. Y'all hold on. I'm coming kick Alfonso off too anyway. Y'all hold on. Let me finish sharing.
Or you telling your audience that you're going to kick me out?
I'm gonna kick you out now because you're trying to hold ULA business. There's something else. Who ULA to count talk? ULA people, they all over here doing nothing good. Let me finish sharing. So I'll get your ULA answer quick. I have my beautiful show getting ready to get off. Coming here with ULA. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go.
All
I
right.
know I'm still. Share it,
Everything
Alfonso,
is
share it too.
everything is being recorded. We're hearing everything that you're
Who said they
saying.
got my show on? Let ULA use their show to come after me. Let them come after me. You know how many times people been, you know how long I've been involved with the ULA business? I'm tired with it. Because there's nothing they're
Yeah.
doing for anybody. So
I agree. You are what you are simply telling me here this evening, Mr. Toll. You are also being a facilitator of the bad behaviors of ULA as you claim it to be.
yeah, well,
Because when ULA is
I've always
doing,
been
if
associated
ULA is doing
with
those
the
things,
liberal.
if ULA
I've always been associated with the liberal progressive anyway. So whatever it is, that's fine. Whatever you want to say, that's fine with me.
okay, so I know you are anxious and eager now to throw me out. You deliberately cut that phone
No.
call
What's your
because you
next
don't want to
question?
start
What
it.
is your next question? Because you have
So
done this, I will look for that ULA book, and I'll bring it up here.
that's why you sure look. You see, that's the beauty. You see, and that's what I love the Liberia Public Radio. Right after this, our differences in policies or whatever. That's the uniqueness of this network here. We are not like the other network that just say one person say, oh, then everybody go away. When the liberal says it's a bad ideology, if it is not good for this network, if it is not good for the Liberian people, we speak out. We point it out. The manager, whatever we say, it doesn't matter to who position it. And that's what I want us to
Hold on 1 minute. Let
maintain.
me see. I'm going to go look up to a place here right now. I bet you it most likely might be in there. Hold on.
So you want to tell your audience, you want to hold us hostage to go find document you claim that you have?
Oh.
Mr. Toll.
Mr. So.
Mr. Toll.
You're really making me to look for the thing. All right, I can't find it right now. I'll take my time to look for it. But if I don't
There
owe
you
anybody
go.
explanation
Yeah.
anyway, if I find it,
gentlemen,
I don't owe them anything.
you see the liberal man? Here we go again. Here we go.
Mr.
Okay,
So,
well.
what's your point?
Yeah.
What's your question? People are on here. They want to ask questions. What's your question?
Okay, my question here is that if you, Samson, knew all of these ridiculous things were said and all of these plans or ploy were put in place to destabilize my country, and you are there, you witness it, And you did not. You in America, you know that. When people plan sinister stuff that has the propensity to create insecurity,
Mr.
first
So,
and
let
first thing,
me
you don't leave from
explain
Rhode
myself
Island and
again.
go to Ohio and go to
When they
Kansas
came
City.
out, that
Hold
was
on, can
not.
you give me a chance, please? Yeah, okay. So now, on a serious note, have you called the ULAD officials to have this conversation? Now you sit behind the microphone. Have you called them to question them, or you doing what? A
Who
rare
you
meet,
like?
a
I'm a
rare meet talking
Tom.
point.
Who were you then?
Tom, what you
Who you
just
like?
died yesterday. There are other people.
Who,
There are other people that. There are other people. There are other people who are around
Mr.
here who
So,
need
this
to
is not
call.
my first time telling you this story. I'm
No,
hoping that
it's not a
somebody
matter
will
of you
call me
telling.
and say,
It's not. No, 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 no. That's not a job. You have something in your hand. You have an evidence you claim that validates all of the bad things that are going on. It is your job to call them and give them the
Eula
fair
has
share
always
too.
been. Who in Liberia know about Eula bad behavior? I beg you, Mr. So. You got something else?
You are. It's a conspiracy. Okay, I know you want to run me out, but I just want to tell you that the show was good. You decided to kick me off because
The
I'm
show is
raising
still
my
good.
voice again. The show is
Mr.
still
So,
good.
do you
Let me
have
say that.
anything else?
Okay, I don't have anything else. You will call you said you're going to invite me to talk on that,
Yeah. Once I
or
find
can
my document, I will invite you.
or are you willing? Okay, are you willing to come on my show for us to go lengthy into this conversation? Will you?
Definitely. I will have all my evidence to show you by that time.
Evidence that was not reported to the authority is not an evidence. These are circumstantial. These are circumstantial evidence.
All
That is
right,
so
Mr. So.
ridiculous.
Okay,
Thank you so
Mr.
much,
So.
Mr.
Thank
Samson
you.
Branco.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. You're conservative. That's what you do. Folks, I'm a number over there. Eula always been starting trouble. Any kind of trouble happen in Liberia. Whatever trouble it is that happen in Liberia, it come from this country. Eula here inside. We can't say what Eula will say to me. We can't say that Eula has always been. Most of the things Eula will do, they go out and have an election. Most of their presidents, most of their leadership, they will find themselves a position in Liberia. They use Eula and use the platform of Eula, elected position, then one position in Liberia. And that's why they split here some time ago. They have two Eula. What kind of Eula, my foot? People there that I can't even. What have Eula done? Seriously. The only thing that you can say Eula have done, maybe because of the dual citizenship, you think Liberian going to kick Liberian out for citizenship, anyway, that one Eula coming to talk about, say we did that. Let them show us something else. You know how long Eula been in existence? Eula has always been an organization that many Liberians are gravitated to. They go to Eula meeting, hopefully, and sometimes you get some good information. Sometimes you go in there and get some good information. But ever since the 1985 election, Eula has started going the other way. Okay? I know these things. You think I'm people stupid around here? Yeah, man, maybe I keep saying you. Anybody challenge me, they are asking for something else because some of the people that document I get, they stay alive. Anybody else start challenging me, you're looking for a real serious issue. Yeah, I know. It wasn't our time. Yeah, but I agree with you. Yeah, it wasn't our time. But my man, y'all call me. Y'all give me a call. So you're sorry. Mr. So coming here with ULAB defense stuff. ULAB, that organization. If ULAB was so good, why you have the section organization are doing so well? You tell me. How many times you called a convention and the place is packed? Please. Because you got nothing to offer. They have nothing to offer. This is supposed to be a umbrella organization of all Liberian organizations in the United States. But what do? They come in here looking for presidents, and as soon as they get elected, before you look, they're going to Liberia to find position. I can name many of them. Okay? But anyway, give me a call, Samson to Liberian Public Radio. I've got my beautiful show, but I got some people here I'm not like. Okay? Shit. How many times have you not come out? We're going to do this, we're going to do that. What did they do? Nothing. Ah, big help me. Anyway, folks, that's my number. Give me a call. I'm sorry I went off. Pa George, please give me a call so we can close this thing here anyway. But once again, let me just, those of you that are still with me, thank you very much. I'm sorry we got sidetracked with the EULA business here. But what's the letter that I read to you earlier is on Front Page Africa. And the minister's statement, I thought it was a little bit off. But overall, I give the minister the fact that he would be brave enough to speak to his brothers and sisters. That's how leaders are supposed to be. But then again, you can't blame me all because he's also is there to protect his interests, if you want to say. So let's go ahead. Pa George, if you're listening, give me a call. I know Pa George probably going on because we went off. So Pa George, if you're listening, give me a call. Okay. Look, Samson told LIBERIA. You know, you kind of think that Friday afternoon, correct? I will do this. Hey, but my heart spoiled, man. My heart spoiled. All right, folks, Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. If you can't see me, it means you can't hear me. Go ahead. If you can call me, we'll pick it up. I'm here now. Alfonso got me looking for all kinds of documents here this afternoon. And I'm all over the place. It's Friday afternoon anyway. We ain't got nowhere to go. So I'm looking. Let me just show you a little bit of what I have here. Just a little bit I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you just a little bit. Here, folks, look at this. You know what this is? You see the president? A Prince Johnson book. You see it here? A Prince Johnson book. And they said the gun that liberates should not rule. A Prince Johnson book here. You see it? I tell you, I got things here. Okay, let's wait. You see the other one? You see it? You see it? What it say? Armed Forces Day brochure. Army motto. Okay? Let me go ahead. Let me show you some picture. This was back in what year was this? 1978. You know who this is? You see it? October. I'm finna you. Hold on. Hold on. You know who this is? This is Mr. Holder. He used to be Minister of National Defense. You see it? This is a whole book that I have here on national defense. I'm finna here. And when I tell you say I have him, you see who this is? He's a Deputy Minister of Defense for Administration. You see here? You see the man? They call him Alfred B. Curtis. Right here. Okay, I'm finna here. Some of them y'all will know some of them. Okay, my books are falling down now. Okay, who's this other one? E. Harding Smythe. You see here's the book here. So I have it. I have lots and lots of stuff here. They're all falling apart. You see the book here? You see the other one? Let me see. You see it? Let me get close. That October speech. Okay? Where's my other stuff? Okay, I can't find the other one. But anyway, let us stay there. But when I'm telling, the reason I'm showing you these things, when I came in this country, I didn't decide to just sit down. The person whose house I was staying in at the time is a guru, the progressive guru. He got it all little by little, but God forbid, if anything was to happen to him, I will show you a lot of paper. I have another document here. The document, these are things that cause problem in Liberia. The document was reportedly written, they said, by John G. Rossi. That some of the things that cause trouble today, I'm telling you now. They said John G. Rossi wrote to those should do certain things to keep the progressive and the Nemadian out of their position. I have that letter here. I know who wrote it. Okay? So when I tell you I got some stuff here, I got them. Before, I used to have 2 suitcases full with documents. And most of these documents, if you go to Indiana University, most of these young people that were here those days, most of their papers that used to write, they were not writing things and keeping it secret. Pat, you know, Ellen used to be part economic advisor when she was in Massachusetts. Okay? Now, most of these people, when they finish writing and stuff like that, you go to Indiana University, you will find many of these Liberian people writing. So please, but Pa George, give me a call. Give me a call. Let's talk about. Let me make sure. Pa George Sampson too. I think I'm still connected. Yeah, give me a call, please. So let's talk about the minister and oh my goodness. Yeah, another thing I'm looking for here. Let me come show you this one. Shit. Your team people playing here, right here. You think I can't eat my school fee? You see the other one? You see what they say? The one has lots and lots of information. Liberian Forum. If you are here, if you are in America in the 80s, 85, 86, you most likely got this copy. Okay? Let me take Pa Josh. Good evening, Pa Josh.
Yes, sir. Mr. Cole, how you doing?
You got a lawyer monitor.
Okay. Is it all right?
Yeah, much better.
Okay. Mr. Cole, the statement, I will first statement by the president or whatever, by the statement of the Minister of Defense. To be honest with you, that statement was irresponsible and reckless. One, defense cited certain things. He cited Ulimo K, Ulimo J, the other rebel group, but he left out MPFL and the INTFL.
Right.
What that tell you that? Because that means he's not genuine.
Yes.
He's not being honest. He's not being honest. He's not being analytical.
Right.
Because it was under the MPFL that all the other sub-rebel groups sprang up.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the activity, the atrocities that were being committed, it was everybody now going to find a group to defend the tribe. So, if you want to point fingers, then you must put all the groups in one basket.
Right.
Because if you live in that road, that means that you will not punish the MPF and the INTF for war crimes and economic crimes in Liberia. That means you're not going to go after a group that you figure that there's something. And secondly, that means you're justifying the action of the MPF and the INTF. Because in no way, no form, no shape that you get mentioned in any of your writing. So you're telling in other words that these people did not do anything wrong. But it was only the other group that did something wrong. which is very sad.
Right.
And secondly, he talking about they have identified troublemakers and would-be troublemakers.
Yeah.
But who are they? Who are they?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever violence, St. George we came to power, political violence have been initiated by CDC. They have been initiated by CDC. And you, the Minister of Defense, it's not your place. Let me say this. Let me give you one example. Maybe you forgot my former boss, Samuka.
Mm-hmm.
During the Ebola time, when Samuka sent the soya to water sign, didn't the American embassy call and said that they will withdraw the soya from the street immediately?
Mm-hmm.
When they shut that ball. So the minister is not. He's not thinking about the role of the role of the army. The role of the army is not to use. It's not to be used against the people internally. It's external defense. That's why you have the paramilitary security. That's why you have police. That's what the police is there for. But again, the minister chooses to insert himself into the conversation to tell us what he's planning to do and what the action will be. And maybe the minister trying to excite history, but I think he's forgotten something. There was a thing that happened during the government when Greg Allison became so powerful, like he was the president. This is the same thing that the defense minister is trying to say. And look at the language. Where do you think that language coming from? Senator Twiden. President William. When anybody cuts me in the street, they will not walk no more in the street. And the defense minister choose to go down this route to talk about his writing. What kind of people are not opinionated paper? What kind of people he's writing? The minister of defense now taking the verification of the state. What do we mean by people will not walk? People will not do that in the street. Is that the role of the Minister of Defense? This is a surveillance government. This man doesn't understand. This man, the army will be the last thing that the president is supposed to call to put in the street against the citizens of Liberia. He doesn't understand that this is the government like that is a surveillance government, it's an elected government. This is not a military agenda government they're running. Now, anytime the defense minister can get on your street. No. We expect the justice minister to usually press releases as it pertains to violence. Or what go on? Have you seen the minister of Defense of America ever spoke about what going on? And is the Attorney General in the U.S. that speak about crimes in the country? The man came here to school and he acting like to say he's not educated. But these guys, what they are doing, he know exactly what the button he's pushing. It is the same travel line and the line this guy is pushing. You take all the Ulimo K, Ulimo J, you put them in one basket. But you leave the MPFA and IMPFA, you put it aside. You don't touch them. This man not supposed to be defense minister. I say to anybody for free. This statement that he issued. So it means that the army, George Weah, are planning to use the army against the people. Because this is the path the Minister of Defense is going. Who is the person to say that he must have in the word must? Why in a democratic election? Come here, why are you saying that you must have it? Why must? It's the will of the people. But if the person is saying that he must have this seat, then of course he undermining the electoral process of the country. And Minister John, let me tell him, those days are over. That if you think the threat from you want to deter people from exercising their political franchise, you are making a grave mistake. Who are the politicians you're referring to?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the politicians? Who are the politicians that are causing trouble?
Mm-hmm.
It is the people's fundamental right. The Constitution guarantees that the people can get in the street at any time if the safety and happiness is serving. So who are you to say that people should not do this? Well, it is within the confines of the law. You, the Minister of Defense, got no right to challenge or deny the people. So this statement, I think the Minister should go back and rethink that the statement he issued today. Listen to take the word from me. You will hear international community concerned about this statement the Minister of Defense issued. Because he is not someone now that can keep the peace. He is not inserting himself into the day-to-day political activity of the country. Who is George Weah that you all want to please?
Yeah, but let me read this other one here to you. He said, "No one should be fooled for a second that they can stifle their trust and greed for power by leading innocent and helpless Liberians to the gas chamber. Instead, they themselves will end up there." How does he know that? You're going to say Liberia, the politician Liberian going to end up in gas chamber? Why would you make this kind of statement?
He's referring to the Nazi in Germany, the Jews. So, is it we are the Jews now that they're going to put in the gas chamber? You know, this is the thing that get to me. When you guys writing it like they said that nobody know any history. That they just get up and get writing and put it out there. Who are you referring to? That they're leading to? You know what I mean of gas chamber? You know what happened? In Germany, with the Jews, million people put in the, and that's why you're using the terminology to refer to like people. You were in the army. By the way, you should have been Minister of Defense. You should have been, because you should have been retired after 7 years before coming back to the government. But I think you were chief of staff and talking from there. You didn't retire because the Constitution is very clear on that. So you are one of those great politicians seeking very at the expense of the administration of Mr. Minister. You know that. You should have been retired after 7 years before you could come back to join government. Because the position you had in the army. Don't you know that? So you tell that we just sit down, we don't look at nothing. Because today you're the Minister of Defense, you can just get up and write anything to threaten the people of the country because of one person. Mr. Minister, what you're doing, you are not inciting and instigating violence in Liberia. Because people are going to challenge you. And if you think you can put the AFF in the street against the Liberian people, I think maybe the minister had not learned his lesson. The AFF was demoralized during the past 14 years civil war in Liberia. And the army trying to gain that reputation, the confidence of the people. But this minister now is trying to enroll in that confidence, that is statement that he made. Maybe the minister, maybe, I don't know how old is he, but maybe you are now around 1979. Let me take my register.
He said he's more than 2 scores. So that means he's 40 years plus.
Okay. So, 1979, you know the story.
Mm-hmm.
When Thor gave the order, the army did not move.
No.
In fact, the army was guiding people. The army was just saying, paying for the bus too. It was
and that's why the brother Guineans. That's why the brother Guineans in.
So this minister, maybe he needs to do more research of the role of the army. It was 1980 when the army began power line. And so the minister should be very, very careful of the statement that he makes. Because he's not going to put fear in Liberians again. He is one of those who want to turn this country around, to put this into chaos. Because the last time he spoke again, There were some issues you spoke about castration of human beings. You are the defense minister. It's not your role. You are the defense minister. You see, sometimes that one go to post surveillance, sometimes they say go to post surveillance in the position. A good someone to post surveillance in the position as administrator of the army. Because this man is a trained military man, so he has that orientation. The way that they do things. And running a civilian government is different from that of a military government. So I think the position he has, if you keep quiet and do not drag the army into this political quagmire that taking place in Liberia. His statement was ill-advised, reckless. He should be very careful. Liberians are not like yesterday. Mr. Minister, you appear to be young. You have a career. You have a future. But because of the leadership, the person who you owe loyalty to, you think that you're supposed to owe loyalty to him. No. Your loyalty should be to the country. Your loyalty should be to Liberia, not an individual. What is so much about this senatorial election that now you see the Minister of Defense coming around?
I think you might have to call me back. Let me call. The people are calling in. Let me take this one here, please.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah, take that call.
Okay. Samson Toll, Liberian Public Radio. What's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call. My name is Joseph Conto, and I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina, sir.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I've been listening to your show. I'm somebody that follow you all the time. I listen to your program.
Thank you.
And it is a wonderful program. And I'm following your program. I have never called. This is my first time calling on your program, and I called because of your last caller that was just on the phone.
Okay.
You know, when it comes to Liberia, when it comes to the security issue of Liberia, those who have not served in the armed forces or other security apparatus should be very careful how they make statements. The defense minister,
in terms of, can you be a little bit specific?
Right. In terms of making accusations, as a defense minister of the country, regardless that the current defense minister, he served in the armed forces of Liberia. I do not know him personally. I have never interacted with him. He doesn't know me whatsoever. But the idea of the last caller talking about they should put civilian in charge of this position, it wouldn't help the Liberian situation if we have a civilian, someone who does not know about the military, to be a defense minister of our country.
Are you sure?
Man,
are you sure?
I'm telling you, I've had a situation like that, like the current situation in Liberia.
Okay, hold on, just a minute. Just because it's a good thing I have it here. Just 1 minute, please. Have you heard of M. Bright Hoarder?
Yes, I have.
And who was he in Liberian history? Do you know?
I think, if I can recall correctly, he had to do something with the security apparatus, or the defense minister, or something like that.
Okay, he wasn't an army person. He was a defense minister. Are you saying then the government of the Tava government then was wrong?
Well, like I was about to say something before you stopped me and you told me to hold on. Let me clarify. Okay. And I said, what I'm trying to say was, unless the defense minister or whoever has served become partisan.
So if the person become partisan, then they're allowed to serve as defense minister. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Then it's become wrong for them because as a defense minister, you cannot be partisan in a sense because you are in charge.
But address the comment you made about it being wrong if the person is not in the military. That's why I brought Hoarder's picture up. I mean, his name up. He's not a. He wasn't in the ministry. He wasn't in a military, but he was a defense minister. So is that wrong? That's the question I'm asking.
No. We are speaking. We are speaking of the current defense minister. The current defense minister of Liberia serves as a Okay. And I said, I'm still here, and I can still repeat what I said. Okay. I said, I called the comment being made by your last quarter. And he's saying that people who have not served in the military, they are civilian, those should be the ones that should be in charge of places like the defense ministry. And I'm saying, I'm not, it's wrong for anybody to make that assumption. Just because you served in the military, and you are part of the military does not disqualify you for serving.
You're talking in terms of disqualification.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. I didn't get that. I thought you said that it was wrong for the statement he made, and that's why I brought the defense minister who never served in the army. But go ahead, make your point, my brother.
Right. So, like I was saying, the Liberian situation, I read the defense minister what he wrote. He spoke in general terms at a certain point, and he also spoke directly to the political parties and what have you. Now, the situation that's on the ground at this point, it would need people that know the security forces, that have interacted with them, to be able to contain them. And having said that, just because you are the defense minister of Liberia does not give you control.
You said you need a defense minister who's been in the security apparatus to be able to contain the security group in terms of what?
Being or someone that has served in the military, you have certain influence. Not all influence, because first of all, being the defense minister,
what have to do with the security of the country?
The influence has to do with the security of the country in the sense that you know what it takes for to defend and protect the security of the country, because you have served, you've been there, you know it. Okay. That's what I'm. Okay. But then on the other hand, just because you have served in the military and now you are defense minister, it doesn't mean that the current head of the national army will take order from you. No, it doesn't work like that. I am a former military man. I serve in the armed forces of the United States. I know how it works. The soldiers, the people in charge of the army, like the chief of staff and whoever, can refuse orders even from the president of Liberia. They can refuse it if that order violates the rights and the protection of the Liberian people. That's the point I'm trying to make. Just because you serve in the army, you are defense minister, like your caller was saying, does not mean that whatever the defense minister says, that's what the military is going to do. No, it doesn't work like that.
Okay, but I don't believe that's what the caller was suggesting. Is that the influence you got out of it?
He's saying, I heard him, he said, that's why we prefer civilians be in charge of the positions, because the people have served in the military, and that's how their mind is. Everything that they think the way how they serve in the military way. And that's why I call. They shouldn't say that. You can like the military people that serve all of our politics.
Okay.
You cannot respect them. We should honor them. If they do the wrong thing, we should say it, but we should not try to belittle them and bring them down, because they are the people that are standing when something happens in Liberia today. Guess what? Those are the people that will depend on to protect the people.
Okay, I will let Mr. Judge to address that later. I'm not too sure if that's what he was saying, but I will let him address that. But thank you very much. We appreciate it, sir. And I believe your statement is correct. Nobody's going to degrade or try to belittle those who have served and protect us and continue to protect us. I don't think I will allow anybody to belittle anybody in that type of position who we all respect and revere as our protectors. But thank you for bringing that up. I think if it's so, Mr. George, most likely we'll have to rephrase that. But thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry that I wasn't able to call. This is Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. You were calling.
Yeah, Samson told. Yeah, this is Aliyu Samson. But
Okay.
before I continue, allow me to say this. Allow me to do this. Okay, this is one thing I admire about you a lot, and I'd like to do it. My friend Gerald Cummings and I always do that about you. We made that joke about you, and it goes like this. Samson told LIBERIA Radio.
You're killing me.
Yeah. You know, I really, sometimes I come to your show without even showing my face, just listening to your historical attributes, you know, the things that you know. And what baffles me is that when you come up with this educated, informative historical analysis, most people don't come on the show at that time. You know, and these are history from 1979 to 2003. These are history that the younger generation can really use. But for some reason, people are not drawn to positive. People are not drawn to important things. They're looking at the things that, for sentimental reasons, those are the kind of things that they look at. They really don't look at the reality. But, you know, great show. I always admired this network, and you bring a lot of entertainment to the show, even when you're doing your exhibits of your engineering career. You know, in California, we watch you all the time, and you make me laugh. Even the East African boy that is with you, Robert, he's laughing. You just entertain people, man. You come with the facts. Yeah, you know. Yeah, but coming to Mr. C. Johnson, right? He's the defense minister, Prince C. Johnson.
No, Daniel. Daniel.
You see, Sammy, right?
No, General Daniel D. Sankara.
Oh! I thought it was okay. Yeah. I was missing him for the chief of staff. Yeah.
No, he used to be the chief of staff.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got you.
Right.
His position, let's not get it wrong. I listened to my uncle Amos George. The position of the defense minister is really not a military position, negating the fact that he served in the military. It is still a political appointment. So therefore, he can make political statements. The question then is, what kind of statement did he make? Does his statement contravene the law? His statement does not have to be in conformity with the UCMJ because he's not a military man. He's a presidential appointee, and he's serving in the political area. So he can make political statements. I don't know if he can make military threats, which he should not do, which no one should do. His statement, you can't do anything to him based on the statement he made. You can only judge him by his morals. You can only judge him by his level of, understanding in terms of diplomacy and how to unify a country that has a fragile peace process or democracy. These are the only things we can judge him by. We cannot judge him by the fact that he was in the military.
I don't mean to interrupt. You're going to have a time here, and of course this is all of our show. But that's the light that that was the route that I was taking. That his statement, his writing, from a general perspective, he was trying his best to unify a country. However, he decided at a certain point of his writing, he decided to now put on the robe of a government defense minister. And so the point and what is confusing to me is, on one hand, he wants to use his position as a defense minister to unify the entire country. and by bringing in past experience, past history of why, if we're not careful, we might find ourselves back in this particular position, which is detrimental to all of us, and therefore we should be very careful. On the other hand, he said, having said that, however, if then he put on the robe of a government defense minister, current government defense minister, and therefore we will not sit by idly, and I'm just paraphrasing it, to allow hooligans or whoever to make trouble in this country. We will take decisive action, and these actions are calling to whatever the threat that might be. So my point is, if you're going to use that position as defense minister to unify the country because of what is going on right now, the blame can be shared on every one of us, even those of us that have a platform and what have you. But specifically, the opposition and the leading government, their position, he has to point that out in order for people to know that he's very serious and these are not things that we Liberians should allow. What have the government done? How did the opposition respond? It have gone overboard. Why? Those are the things you need to reconcile. But instead of reconciling that kind of position, my opinion, instead of reconciling that, he decided to just get in the middle and say, boom, okay, I want us to make peace, but this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do. If this happens and that happens, this is what goes. So if you're going, he has the right to do that, because as a defense minister, he has the right to protect lives and property. But if you're going to speak as a defense minister, you're not here now. You're not going to say, I'm a defense minister, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z, but we need to unify. I think that would be some sort of a contradicting position, and that's the confusing part. But I thought he did a wonderful job in terms of trying to unify the country just from his speech alone. But he went, it's confusing. To be honest with you, it's confusing. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think the reason why his statement raised eyebrow is the fact that he's serving a cabinet position that starts with the word defense. But we should just look at his position as a cabinet ministerial position. He worked at the will, and the pleasure of the president.
You're right.
Just Samuel Toure have made similar statement. The city mayor have made similar statement. Everybody within George Weah's circle are making the same kinds of statement. Now, one guy just left the line, even though he started on the wrong foot, but he said one thing that is factual. The chief of staff do not have to take instruction from the defense minister. They don't have to. And I know you and Pa George made a reference to the defense minister, the military at the time during the arrest riot, when the military refused the defense minister order to get in the streets. The military, the chief of staff is the person who controls the military. The defense minister is pretty much like a liaison and as an administrator between the executive and the defense ministry. The defense minister really do not run the day-to-day military affairs of the military itself. So I understand the point that we're making, and I know George Weah has a lot of irresponsible, for some reason, people who should have been people of good caliber. These people have changed, for some reason, have become George Weah's worshippers. In order to maintain their positions, they have to say the things that will stroke George Weah's ego. And this is very bad for the society. This goes to everybody. His statement, for me, I think it was inflammatory. But I think it should be addressed as the George Weah cabinet in general, for the most part, that makes such a comment, and not just because of his position as a defense minister, because he's a civilian, technically. That's part of the fact that he served in the military. But, Samson, too, I'll be here watching like I always do. Thank you for all of these informative shows that you bring up, and I just do not miss it. I got this thing set up on my phone. This alert, once Samson too comes on, my phone will beep, boop, Samson too is on. I'm ready to laugh and listen.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, bro. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. So anyhow, folks, Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio, we try to do our best here. And, you know, the thing about it is the young people, this is, I stated that before, and let me just say it again. The young people, you can't just say, oh, the young people should do this. We, some of us, I consider myself older person. We started this. The fire's been going. When we were young, the fire was coming up. Now the fire have gotten to a raging position, and then we're asking the young people to say, "Oh, put out the fire now." How are they going to do that without any kinds of structure, any kind of machine, or any kinds of means of putting out the fire? And they're trying their best. So in the process, they will make mistakes here and there. We agree, and I'm not here to degrade or anything like that. The only thing that I'm saying is that if the defense minister, as young as he is, but he's smart, very intelligent. And my point is, after that, I continue to say that I've been out here now too for a very long time. The point that I'm making, I will continue to make that is this. The defense minister, if I was in his position, I would honor it, because we never heard from him on many occasions. He's not somebody who's in the limelight, like to show himself and things like that. Very intelligent, very smart. But at the same time, he's sent to do his work. So if he is respected in the international community and everyone else, then I think the position that's his whole thing. And let me do this here. Let me read this again. And those of you perhaps that never had the opportunity to read this on Front Page Africa, let me read that again. It's very interesting, but it's confusing. He started out as trying to use his position to unify the country. Specifically, the politician should be mindful of things that comes out of their mouth, because whatever comes out of their mouth, their father or their supporters might take it literally and try to respond to that. And that's why he was giving all of the example. However, at the end, he decided, now, having tried to unify, now let me try to show you that we're very strong. Anybody tries something, this is what we're going to do to you. You see what I'm saying? Let me read that. Dimly or clearly, we all should know what right looks like. But more often than not, we tend to ignore the glaring reality. There's price that one has to pay whenever you deliberately turn your face from the right and embrace the wrongs in the form of violence. He's speaking against violence. There's no question. In the form of violence, hypocrisy, greed, and deceit. We have paid a huge price when we traded such paths decades ago. Liberians were taught some valuable lesson, but we seem to forget those life and death lessons so soon. I have lived over 2 scores. Therefore, I have witnessed some of the cherished and regrettable movement in the history of our beloved country, Liberia. I have not only lived through the good, bad, and ugly days, but I have also come up close and personal with the narcissists, the valiant, and the deceits. Okay, that said, this is the most interesting one. After he gave us his position, now this is the most interesting one. That said, he said, I am deeply constrained to speak to the conscience of peaceful Liberians, both at home and abroad, to choose the path of nonviolence, and in the same vein, strongly warn the power-hungry politicians and troublemakers about the dangerous cliff to which you are dragging our country. Okay? Now, he gave us a position. And now, but he's getting ready now to advise the Liberian at home and abroad. At the same time, he's also telling the politician that their behavior is dragging the country dangerously onto the cliff. Okay? Irrespective of our social, economic, and political position, he said, we are all Liberian first before assuming our respective position and side. Now, that particular statement is very interesting. At that particular statement, it seemed to me, and I could be wrong because I don't know, but just from reading, it seemed to me that he's already distinguished himself. First, he said, I'm a Liberian, and therefore I have the responsibility to get involved. However, before I get involved as a politician or based on my position, I'm a Liberian first, just like every one of you. And so you also have the responsibility to speak. Let us not forget or pretend to forget what we have all been through over the last 4 decades. Now he's getting ready to tell us some story now. From the 1979 Rest Riot that saw Guinean troops on our soil, to the landing of Ecomore and Umel due to our civil crisis. Between those 2 periods, we have experienced the following: the 1980 coup, the 1985 Kuombat invasion, the Nima raid, the 1989 rebel incursion, and the introduction of various warring factions during the first and second Liberian Civil War. Now he's going to name now. This is another point here that people are making. If you're going to be sincere, you have to name. It's not like you don't know. You don't know who brought the war. You don't know who was involved. You know all of the warring factions. But he decided to be silent on certain warring factions. He made it clear. But he decided to announce certain warring factions. Unimo J. Who are Unimo J? We all know who they are. Unimo K. Who are Unimo K? We all know them. LPRC, we know them. And Laura, we know them. What happened to the LPR, whatever Taylor Group and Prince Johnson Group? They're not here. Prince Johnson served in the same government as he is. Okay, but let's go on. Let us not forget or pretend to forget. Now he's telling us, let us not forget, but he has already forgotten. He didn't list all. So what I was, amnesia, I don't know. I'm not going to speak to that. Let us not forget or pretend to forget about what happened during this period. Some may pretend, especially the perpetrators. That's an interesting one. He's coming to now. The perpetrator that they have forgotten, but history would never. I found no pleasure. Now this is another one, a very interesting one. I found no pleasure in reminding you about these ugly dates and events, but I have to. To the victim, I truly understand the physical and emotional pain associated with such reminder and do apologize, but I have no regret for the perpetrators. Nobody deserves to be reminded of. Now let me read. I have no regret for the perpetrators. You have some of the people that are being accused of heinous crimes are serving in the government. We know them, and you know them. That's my point. These are kind of things I'm talking about. Nobody deserves to be reminded of such traumatic past, especially when most of the perpetrators continue to show no compassion and remain unapologetic. I can surely guarantee the victim one thing: sooner or later, justice will be served. That's a good statement. That's unifying. That's unifying. That's a good statement. Now, this is another, because now he's going to use his position as a defense minister and first as member of the Liberian Armed Forces and Chief of Staff. So now he's going to use that position and his experience, based on the army experience and what have you, he's going to warn Liberia more. Now listen to this one. The international community is busy finding solutions to her own problems and therefore won't care much to extinguish any unnecessary and self-destructive flame on our soil. True statement. I've been making that same statement. You start anything over there, you're on your own. We were blessed, and if not lucky, to have been rescued by the precious blood of peacekeeper from Ecomo and Ormel. I'm quite sure that thousands of individuals across the sub-region, widows, widowers, orphans, and loved ones of these peacekeepers who laid down their precious life while saving our country will regret the sacrifice of their loved ones should we slip back into the civil crisis. True statement. There are people came to help us in our country and they died. And now we're going to go back into that. And the people who their family then will say, but then what reason my brother or somebody died? What's the reason? And that's what he said. We may not be lucky this time around to get the international community to come to our aid in a timely fashion. Be reminded that the United Nations and ECOWAS are engaged in resolving problems in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mali, Sudan, Cyprus, and Western Sahara, just to name a few. Okay, you see, this is my point here. He said just to name a few. But let's go back to this. Where he said, and the introduction of the various warring factions during the First and Second Liberian Civil War, UNIMO J, UNIMO K, LPAC, and LOR. He's a very smart person. You know you left out somewhere. You don't even if you don't name them, but you could say, just to name a few. That means there are more. I don't want to name them, but to put a period, that means you're done. Nothing else. Okay. I'm not going to say much on that. I'll let you be the judge on that. Okay. Okay. Just to name a few. Troop Contributing Country, TCC, that once contributed troops in Liberia during our crisis are presently facing some economic, political, or security issue. For instance, he says, Nigeria, Chad, and Niger are combating Boko Haram and other violent extremists in the Lake Chad Basin. The G5 share countries Burkina Faso, Mauritania, Chad, Niger, and Mali are coordinating their effort to fight terrorists within the shared basin. There seems to be what I term a triangular flashpoint: Liberia, Guinea, and Ivory Coast. Our immediate neighbors. We come to talk about Ivory Coast, and this is the scary part for them as well. You have to feel for their position. They are in position of authority, but in a security field. If anything happens in our country, Ivory Coast are politically charged due to constitutional issues, which could potentially snowball into military crisis. Now you know, in Guinea and in Ivory Coast, they're trying to change the constitution so they can see more another term, and people are resisting that. But he'll say that. In fact, both countries are due to hold presidential election this year, which makes it more worrisome. Given all of these developments, we will be left alone to tote our... Oh, come on, Samson. All right. Okay. I got kicked out of the game, so just bear with me. Okay, so let's do it. So let me just wrap it up here so I can get out of here. Samson told. Okay, so it seemed to be what I turned, okay, Guinea and Ivory Coast, blah, 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 whatever. But the sub-region is the one that he's concerned with. It's the sub-region that he's concerned with. Folks, Samson told leaving the platform. Okay, I guess I'm back, huh? Okay. Share. Okay, there we go. It's on there. Please share. Please share. Okay. I'm gonna get out of here. Please go to LIBERIA Public Radio and share the video, please, if you don't mind. But anyway, since you're here, what do both sides? I don't care. I want to enjoy myself this week. But anyway, so let's go ahead. All right. I think much better. Okay. So the defense minister now, he said there seemed to be, okay, the Ivory Coast. So he said they're going to have presidential election this year, which makes it more worrisome. He's worried as well. Given all of these developments, we will be left alone to tote our own crisis if we are not mindful of our careless action. Sub-region, regional, and international organizations most will pay little attention to civil crisis, civil conflict, expected some geographical dimension to it. Our country is paralyzed at every level than ever before. This is the defense minister talking. Our country is paralyzed at every level. It will be in our best interest to reconcile our differences and rekindle our compassion Liberian spirit instead of tearing down each other. Not one political party or a leader, business tycoon, religious leader, civil society group, activist, or individual Liberian, etc., is bigger or greater than Liberia. Those of all who are privileged to be in position of authorities and stakeholder, political leader, religious leader, youth group, civil society organization, journalists, activists, etc., all vying for one, should rethink our action and inaction. A vast majority of our illiterate and impoverished population look up to us for direction. Now, do you think he's just talking to opposition alone? Good luck. Okay. If we continue to openly violate the Constitution, break established rule, disrespect constitutional authority, negatively using the social media, making incendiary statements, use incentive without regard to our status, incite violence, and threaten the national security of the state. The unspoken message we are sending to our followers is loud and clear. You are telling them to do the same because it is okay. No one, now listen to this, this is another deep one here. No one should be fooled for a second that they can satisfy their thirst and greed for power by leading innocent and helpless Liberians to the gas chamber. Gas chamber. We're talking 1940 something here in Germany. Gas chamber. Gas chamber, folks. Why would you try to use gas chambers into Liberian situation? That's something interesting. But anyway, let's go ahead. Gas chamber. Instead, listen to this. Instead, they themselves will end up in it. He said people leading Liberian to gas chamber. But if the Liberian go, they themselves will end up into gas chamber. You understand that? Okay. How does he know these things? He's a defense minister. They have this is deep. You're defense minister and you're making this kind of statement. They have access to gas. They have access to this dangerous gas. And now he's telling people they're gonna, you know what? You know the statement, you know how it connected? Very dangerous. But anyway, he's trying, for me, he didn't mean it like that. But you can read anything into it. For me, I think basically what he's just trying to parrot something and just say, you know, we should, he said, be smart enough to see and recognize the familiar sign and bold writings of crisis on the wall. The recognizable tapping point that brought us to where we are, where we were a few years ago, as well as the flashpoint are visible, the defense minister is saying. We cannot afford to revisit our dark and bitter past. If I were him, I would stop. But he didn't do that. Now he's going to wear his political cap now, being member of George Weah government. He's going to show now too that he also is here to defend the government. But listen to this way, how he's going to put it. After doing his best to reconcile everybody, now listen to how he's going to put this. Our country has gone through a lot. A big chunk of the population is still licking their wounds and do not want to go through the same motion again. That's the interesting one. I will take your call. Samson told LeBron Public, can you just hold on 1 minute? Let me finish this statement, please. Thank you. We as security actor, now this is an interesting one, folks. We as security actor will not sit idly by for our national security to be threatened and allow our country to go down the drain once more. Therefore, we will act decisively and accordingly, irrespective of your position and affiliation. That's a statement that if he's not careful, he can be called to question. If he's not careful, this statement is deeper than just talking to opposition. Because if you're saying this, therefore, we will act decide. Who threatened the security of the country? Is that the opposition? Is that the government? We got to be careful when we say this. To the troublemakers, he said, and will be troublemaker. Take heed and govern yourself accordingly. So who are the troublemakers? So most likely he has identified some troublemaker. Why is a troublemaker? Why are these troublemakers still in there? Okay, Pa George, please follow us on the other stuff. I'm still going live. I hope I'm audible on LIBERIA Public Radio. So I'm going to finish this phone one and I'm going to go back to the other one. So Pa George, give me a call, please. Let me answer this. Let me talk to this guy and then we're going to go from there. Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. What's your name? What's your call? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind? Okay, the person is gone. Okay, go ahead. Hello? Let me call this person. Pa George, please give me a call so we can get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Did you just get to Samson Toll, LIBERIA Public Radio? You just called me?
Yes, sir, Mr. Toll.
Thank you. What's on your mind,
How you doing? Well, I just want to speak on the comment or the statement the Minister of Defense made.
Okay.
And some other listeners said that Chief of Staff does not take order from the Minister of Defense.
Okay.
Yes, in many countries like the United States, divisional army like Nigeria, United States, and Guinea, just to show some example. You have various chief of staff, the armies, the Marine, the Navy, the Air Force, and then you have the chairmen of Joint Chief of Staff. Mm-hmm. So that itself is a position by itself. Okay. It's three major positions in the United States: the president, the directors of the CIA, and the chairmen of the Joint Chief of Staff. These are three positions they gave 21 gun salute to, because they have the whole information in and out.
regarding the government. And because of the strategic natures of these positions, because the chief intelligence of the army almost equivalent with the CIA directors. They also brief the chairmen of the Joint Chief of Staff. And the chairmen of the Joint Chief of Staff go directly to the president. But in the case of Liberia, where you have army, the Chief of Staff, the defense minister serves as the direct boss of the Chief of Staff. Yes, he can refuse the order. That does not mean he does not take order from the Ministry of Defense. He under obligation to take order from the Ministry of Defense as his immediate boss. Because two other positions within the ministry, the Chief of Staff need to report to this position. One is Deputy Minister for Operations, and one is Minister or Deputy or Assistant. Some country uses as assistant for public affairs. He need to report to this area. So, but he's not bound. If he refuses to, even ordinary soldier can refuse to take order from the Chief of Staff, but that does not mean he or she cannot take order from the Chief of Staff. No. So now, the statement of the defense minister, there are certain positions in the government. They don't supposed to melt or meddle into political activity. One is foreign minister because of its strategic nature, like I said. Foreign minister represent the country in and out, specifically outside of Liberia. So he has a lot of influence. So ministers of defense is one of those. Because the minister is so into defend life and property. And that life and property is Liberian. So therefore, the statement of ministers of defense have to represent all Liberians. In fact, in this area, the statement you read, that statement have to be given by the police director as a means of deterring, to deter people from engaging into violence. But if the minister of defense makes such a statement, even when as far as pointing out some old fashions and leaving some behind, like the MPFL or the IMPFL, because the IMPFL is in number two in, let me say the MPFL. They have the number two positions in the government right now. And the Prince Johnson, everybody know the Prince Johnson position. But let me say this. In the case of Ulimo, this is being misused. Every time you speak to Liberia, say all factions commit crime. Yes, I do agree, but not at the same level. Because in the case of Ulimo was funded outside of Liberia. When MPFL captured seized Liberia completely, and let me say there was no law and order. Okay, the definitions of rebel applied to MPFL because there was a constituted government that they came into country to destabilize this government. But in the case of Ulimo, because the definitions of rebel is to revoke against a constituted government. There was no government in Liberia after September 10, 1990. Came to complete collapse. And then MPFL violated international law and went into Sierra Leone. The victims in Sierra Leone, the majority of whom was Mandingos and crime, they felt MPFL cruelties in Liberia without any safe zone for them. That itself amount to genocide. The definitions of genocide under 1951 Convention is not limited to just slaughtering people. A mass deportation or forced deportations of people because of their race or belief also amount to genocide, which applied to that two group of people. So MPFL coming back into Sierra Leone with their killing machinery. Under 1954 Convention, it said one has a right to redeem themselves if their right become oppressed by their own government. So in the case of those groups, they were no longer oppressed. They were at the verge of elimination. So they have a right to self-redemption. In that case, they came into Liberia. They was invited by the International Monitoring Group. That is ECOMON, and the government was signatory to it, the IGNI government. They came into Monrovia in 1992. And October 1991, under the Operations Order Pool, That was a code name by Charles Taylor. And then they defended Monrovia. Freely they left without any destruction. Yes, crime committed after that. But many genocides in Liberia can't play bomb back to do in Lofa County. All of this genocide, all of this mass before 1992. That is the question. And then the inhabitant in Monrovia at the time when Ulimo was brought in was around 700,000. All right. In 1945, the Nazi participant escaped from Germany, went to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, used the name Amedino. Amedino, the original name was Kolaski. So now he was discovered, brought into the court in Germany, but he was exempted from prosecution. The reason being, this Nazi security guy hid green apple and gave it to a Jewish prisoner. So the court agreed that this individual was not in charge of the command or the authority. If being that he was in charge of the command, he would have let the Jews prisoner go because the humanitarian gestures was enough to let him free or to set him free. So if you look at the inhabitants in Monrovia at the time that were protected by Ulimo, but the prejudice so high in Liberia, we don't mention these things. So, and Ulimo, before they come into Ulimo, there was a call in Freetown, Bamako, Mali, Yamoussoukro 1, 2, up to 7, and Banjul. Mr. Taylor have revolted against his own signature to order this call. The presence of Ulimo forced Mr. Taylor into international table. And finally, that led to the formations of the government. But that does not exempt Ulimo from committing crime. So I want to register this so Liberian people can know, because we choose history that we want to hear and left out history that we are not interested due to our own personal ego. So that itself is a problem. All right. Yes, in Liberia case, let me say in the military, what the unit failed to do or does is the negligence of the commander. The ministers in Liberia and the chief of staff, they talk because that is the order of the day. And this is a statement the head of the government want to hear. And also, now the time start today. This has been going on for a very long time. Liberia, people come to this country, they land, they went to Canada, England, in America, they went to Liberia to do different things. That is environment. They call it environmental conditions. Environment corrupt the mind of people because the mindset that is set in Liberia, the type of environment, intend to corrupt the minds of these people. Otherwise, I think the chief of staff the minister of defense know what should be his responsibility. But he come out to make a statement like that to satisfy the master, so the master can know his position. So that being the order of the day. And you guys, I enjoy your show. Excuse me. You guys should continue to speak out so that these messages, little by little, it can get to the heart of the authority. So it can force them to bring change or changes in the system. Other than that, believe me, we are in a singing booth. I can say that.
Thank you.
So this is what I wanted to tell you. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a very good educational process that you've gone through, but we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my friend.
Okay. Okay, Pat George, if you're listening, and if you're not tired, give me a call. If I don't hear from you in about 2 minutes, I'll play my music and get out because I'm tired. So made me tired. All that Eula question you were asking, I got nothing to do with it. They asking me all kind of questions all night. I will go to a show. I will make him tired too. But anyway. Yeah. Okay, Pat George, thank you. My sister been in and out. So please just wrap it up for me. I'm sorry about that, but go ahead.
Well, let me just make this clear to the gentleman I called from North Carolina. He was making reference to statement that I made.
Right.
But I want him to go and do a research in Liberia. I'll give him 3 names. The late Harold Christian was not a murdered man. He was the defense minister, I think. You had James Wabaglia. Then you have Bolly Hola. Let him check these people's character. Were they military personnel in Liberia? No. Were they good administrators at the time? Yes. So it's not that against the law of someone putting military person in position as defense minister. That is the will, the pleasure and will of the president. So I'm not challenging that, but I'm seeing his attitude. And why you think the Constitution said that the chief of staff, if he retires, you should stay 7 years before he can come back to civilian government. Why did they say that? Is for that person to leave from the military life to transition into civilian life. That's what the Liberian Constitution said. If they're not happy in a case, he was chief of staff, he came down, the next day he was appointed Minister of Defense. So if he talks about power grid, then he accepts the power grid. Because the Constitution will violate the right there. We don't come here to say something that we don't have facts to. Okay? So, the issue here, again, the physical pain that the minister spoke about. Okay. If you talk about physical pain, then what about the pain that MPF and IMPF inflicted on the Liberian people? You are only looking at Ulimoke, and the rest. Don't you think the IMPFL and the MPFL inflicted pain just as a group? We cannot play double standard in this thing. If you say you want to prosecute people, now look there.
Mr. George, yeah. I just want to caution you. My sister is giving me some issue tonight.
Oh, okay.
So
let me just wrap up.
Yeah. Just try to make it brief.
But let me just say this. Let me just say this.
Again.
Let me just say this. If the minister is sincere and honest, then he should not be picking and choosing. And someone said he's not a military person. No, he is a military. He's a professional military career. That's why he's using languages like gas chamber. What you mean by if the people don't go there, then those who then will go into the gas chamber. What he meant by that? That's a military language. But I just want to say to the minister, we all want to preserve the peace. But if we think you're going to eliminate other people and they will sit down, it will not happen. Thank you, Mr. Toll.
Thank you. All right, folks. Samson told the show is over. Mr. Toll running away, folks. But no, thank you very much. Thank you all. I'm sorry we're going in and out this evening. We thought we'd still go ahead and do that. But thanks for you guys to continue to follow. We really appreciate it. And this show, we actually believe that this show is an intellectual platform where we come out to have discussion. And so if we say something here that you don't agree with us, you can, something I said today, you don't agree with me, write it down. When I come on Monday, you call my attention to it. With some of these things here, most of the time when you see me come out here and I play music from the beginning, I start writing, I'm trying to get down because I set like an agenda. I'll talk about this, sometimes I put time on them. So most of the things that I talk about, I have, they're written down. I'm reading from, like for example, I have a big platform over here, a big, that I'm looking at, a monitor, a big monitor that I'm looking at, and it has all my topic as I go through, okay? And because it's sometimes you have to remember, so I put some picture, somebody, if I'm gonna be talking about somebody, I put his picture on that, on the side of it and put what I'm gonna say. This is a big monitor. And I can read from this distance, like for example, what I just put up there, I can look at it now. Your vote, okay, the other one, ensures, okay, all right. Small writing like that I can't see, but on a big stuff on my, if I were to put it on here, I can see it clearly. So when I come on and you find that something was stated and you don't agree with us, bring it to our attention in the next show and we'll still discuss it, okay? The basic thing that I want you to get out of these kinds of shows, especially my show and Mr. Soul's show, is that basically we're trying to say there are means for us to have conversation. Because the more conversation you have about issue, the better you find solution. If you're cussing at each other, you're not going to get solution. You're making things worse because the person you're cussing, they're going to get upset. and they're not going to want to discuss with you. But if we come out here and have these kinds of dialogue among ourselves, I think we'll do better. So anyhow, thank you, Ben. Thank you. Welcome as well. Welcome, folks. So all of you, thank you very much for following. We appreciate it. Mr. So will be on here come Sunday. I'll be on here Monday. Monday, I will do everything this weekend to find that EULA book and read from that EULA book and read some of the things the young people used to write at that time. You know, it's a very interesting. In fact, the group that were here at the time, they challenged the State Department. And the secretary at the time was Crawford. I think his name was Crawford was the secretary at the time, and he was challenged. Pine Color then, the guy that used to call Pine Color. And many of you don't even know who Pine Color is anyway. But I will read it. I have it. I will find it. So anyhow, thank you very much and say good night to all of you. It's a wonderful, 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 wonderful Friday. Please, please stay safe. Samson to LeBron Public. Good night, folks.
They man no dagala